essence and even the affirmative blessing of this administration. I, for one, am glad that Senator Tuberville was not the head coach at the University of Miami when their football team played BYU in the late summer of 1990. Had he been, that game might have turned out differently. But I'd love to get his thoughts on this matter.
It was a pretty good game, by the way.
A very good game.
Thank
indeed.
you. Thank you. For my colleague from Utah, I'm kind of amazed what's happened today. It's been categorized several ways, whether it's kangaroo court or a three-ring circus or organized grab ass. I don't know how you look at it, to be honest with you. It is amazing what we've sat here and watched. We all thought that last few weeks that there was a chance for an impeachment trial of Secretary Mayorkas, but it only lasted a few hours. Historic event in the eyes of every senator, not just Republicans, but also Democrats. But one thing I want to say is, has he faithfully executed his duties of the United States Constitution, one that we all put our hand on the Bible and swore to do? But it was amazing to me how this all went down at the end of the day. And it really wasn't Secretary Mayorkas's. He wasn't the only one on trial today, or would have gone on trial, impeachment trial. It would have been every Democrat here in the Senate, every Democrat in the House, and every Democrat that's running our executive branch, because there's not been one person that has said anything since I've been here in 3.5 years of we need to do something at the border. Not one. Now, we've let in 10 million illegal aliens in the last 3 years. From that data point alone, Secretary Mayorkas intentionally failed to secure the border. I personally asked him one day why he was not at least given a fair chance of closing the border. He says, Senator, we need more money. Well, I looked it up, and his budget is 20% more than what President Trump's Secretary of Homeland Security had. 20%. So his job is Homeland Security. That's his entire job. Senator Schumer and all the Democrats could have conducted this impeachment trial today, and it would have never seen the light of day after the trial, because we would not have had the votes on our side to impeach Secretary Mayorkas. So instead, the impeachment process is over. The media will stop covering it in a few days. We'll be going back to throwing millions of taxpayer dollars at blue states so they can manage the surge of illegal aliens going to the blue cities all over the country. Just last week, the Department of Homeland Security awarded another $300 million to cities in support of illegal aliens. Today, the city of Denver announced that they would shift $8 million from their law enforcement to taking care of illegal aliens. It's clear that the Biden administration is more concerned with taking care of these illegals than they are about protecting the citizens. So I will ask again, has Secretary Mayorkas fulfilled his oath of duty before this body to protect and defend the country against all threats, foreign and domestic? Is our border secure? The answer is simple. He has not, and it is not. Mayorkas has been derelict in his duty. Derelict. Confrontational in his duty to all of us when we've asked him personally what he is doing at the southern border. In voting against his impeachment, our Democrat colleagues they're basically lying to themselves. They're risking the lives of Americans. Senator Schumer and the Democrats can't say that they want to fix the border while trying to save his job. Americans are dying at the hands every day of what's going on from our southern border. Every state's a border state now. It's just not Texas. It's not Arizona and California. Every state. My state of Alabama is being overrun with illegal aliens. The number of people crossing the border who are on the terrorist watch list is unprecedented. That's what scares me. You listen to our FBI director, he says we have a major threat to our country. and he said, it is coming. But it doesn't seem like anybody's listening. Nobody's listening that's in charge. Just last week, it was reported that an Afghan on the FBI terror watch list has been in the U.S. for almost a year. He's a member of a U.S. designated terrorist group responsible for the deaths of at least 9 American soldiers and civilians in Afghanistan. 9. ICE arrested him in San Antonio just last year in February. Unfortunately, this known terrorist has been released on bond and is now roaming the neighborhoods in the United States of America. It isn't just terrorists, it's always, it's also fentanyl. We've had 100,000 people a year die in the last 3 years. Last time I looked, that's 300,000 people. It is a crime what's going on. Law enforcement officers in Alabama tell me that they had never heard the word fentanyl until 3 years ago. Not heard the word. It was heroin, it was cocaine, it was meth. Now it is almost 100% fentanyl, just in the last 3 years. That's a pretty good coincidence. In February, this past year, Secretary Mayorkas traveled to Austria to speak with Chinese officials about counter-narcotics efforts. Now, he traveled to Austria to do that. He discussed with them the flood of Chinese. Did he discuss the Chinese flood of people coming to our country? 22,000 Chinese illegals have come into our country just in the last 5 months. Most of these individuals are adult males. And I wonder where we get the idea that there might be a big problem coming to America soon. Yet the media tries to act like all the people that's coming here from China and all these other countries are, great people. Some of them probably are, but most probably are not. They're coming here for different reasons. This is not a border crisis. It's turned into a huge invasion. It's a national security problem, and we're having it more and more each day. So I just want to say this. We have not done our duty here today. We have failed the American people. My phone rings constantly about protecting the sanctity of not just Alabama, but everybody in this country from what's happening at the southern border. Nothing good is happening because of what's happened from Secretary Mayorkas to the people that have opened these borders, again, not just southern, but also northern border. That is getting worse and worse. So we failed the American people today. Why? I don't know that we don't do our job. We had a Republican majority when I first got here 3 years ago. We brought the President of the United States in an impeachment trial, and he was a Republican. And we put him on trial in this very room. This is all politics. We broke something today that has never been done in the history of this school. School. I'm used to getting on people when their phones ring in the classroom when I was coaching, but it's never happened before. Now we've set a precedent, and unfortunately, it will be a precedent probably that will be broken many times. How is this body ever going to be able to hold anybody accountable to anything that they've done wrong here in the federal government?
Thank you, Coach. Another one of our colleagues who's been a longtime advocate of secure borders, who's tireless in her advocacy. He's our friend and colleague, the senior senator from the state of Tennessee. I'd love to get her thoughts on what happened today.